What's up, BiggerPockets? This is Zeona McIntyre, and I'm here to talk to you today about managing out of state and how to automate that management. Now, I am the co-host of the Investify podcast with Craig Kurlop, also a BP author. He wrote The House Hacking Strategy. Go pick it up. It's an awesome book. And I am the co-author of 30 Day Stay, the investor's guide to mastering the medium-term rental. So we've got it. We've got all the medium-term rental tips here for you today. If you're interested in this subject, definitely go check out our other two videos. We have a little bit of an MTR playlist. The first video is Medium-Term Rentals 101, and then the other one is Identifying a Market for a Medium-Term Rental. So again, today we're talking about managing out of state and how to automate that. So today we're going to go into how do I build this team so that I can be hands off, so that I can manage from afar, because it's super scary for a lot of people. And I'm here to tell you, I've been doing it for about 10 years now. It's not that hard. And then the second portion, we're going to go over all the softwares that I use, because out in the world of short and medium term rentals, there are hundreds of softwares to sort through, and people just trying to sell you stuff that you don't need. So let's get really clear about the couple that you do need in your tool belt to make things a little more automated. All right, so who am I? I have been in the furnished rentals Airbnb space for over 10 years, since 2012. So I know a little bit, I have some experience. In my, heyday highlight, I managed over 60 units in 5 countries. So I know a little bit about this kind of difficulty, managing from afar, building that right team, figuring out the softwares, and trying to make it feel automated so that this is not taking over your life. Maybe some of you have a full-time job and you want this side income. We're here to help make it easier for you. Okay, great. So first thing you're gonna need is your team. Why do we need a team? Because we want to buy out of state because there are often markets that are better cash flowing markets than where we live. Don't feel like you have to uproot your life to become an investor and move to Kentucky or something like that, right? If you want to live in an expensive market, that is totally fine. And you can buy these properties in the cheaper 2 to 3rd tier cities and make this all work out for you, right? And the reason we also want a team is that so we don't have to run over there. A lot of times people say when you're just getting started in real estate that you should own within 4 hours of your home. And honestly, I think that's baloney. Anything that's more than 40 minutes is too far to run over for any little problem. And I think it's even better for you not to do that. So one quick example is that I have a property here in town. It's like 8 minutes away from my house. And it took me about 4 days to get over to our tenant and show him how to work the oven because I'm the bottleneck, right? I could have just paid somebody and it could have been done immediately. So don't become that bottleneck. Get used to outsourcing because you do want to learn to be a hands-off landlord as much as possible. So we got to build the team. Any good team starts with your agent. So ideally you want to look for an investor-friendly agent that has short or medium-term rental properties. Either they are Airbnb themselves and they're the owner, or they're co-hosting or managing for other people. You want someone with that kind of knowledge because they're going to really understand the ins and outs, maybe the little pockets that are a little undervalued and that are going to be great for that tenant pool. So agents are key. Another good thing about an investor-friendly agent is they're going to have a lot of your other contacts. So the other 2 people on your team that are critical are your cleaner and your handyman. And often, if you're lucky, your agent's going to be able to provide those for you. So that leaves it, way less legwork. It's super easy if you could just get it from that agent. So a handyman is really important. If you need someone to reprogram your keyless entry, fix a leaky faucet or anything like that, it's just good to have somebody easy that can just run over there and kind of be your eyes and ears. So really bare bones, you can start with a cleaner and a handyman. All the other people that will come later, maybe lawn care or any kind of specialty plumber, You can usually get those from your agent as well, but you can find them online and you just don't have to worry about them now. So you've got your team. Now let's talk about software. There's just a couple out there. I use 3 that I really love and they save me so much time and energy. Number 1 is pricing software. So people that are in the short-term rental industry live and die by pricing software. What it's doing is that it's looking at what hotels are charging, what other Airbnbs are charging, and it's working out what the demand is per night and what the rate should be because of that. And so this is something that updates every day. If you've got a medium-term rental, it seems a little less important, right? Because your rate might be $2,500 a month. But what people are missing very often on sites like Furnish Finder, where we rent out to exclusively medium-term rental or month-to-month guests, is that you can change your rate with the seasonality. So that is very, very popular in the short-term rental space. I think that people that have been doing executive rentals for a long time, they just look at it like a long-term rental, and you basically charge one rate for the entire year and then maybe it goes up after that. The beauty of a medium-term rental is that you're kind of in that Wild West like we talked about in another video. And so you can set your own price, you can play with the prices. I know when I was getting started, I had a unit that every time a guest would move out, I would charge $50 more, $100 more to find out where was that threshold that I couldn't charge anymore. So same as that, we have seasonality. So for example, I have 2 units here in Boulder, Colorado near Denver. Our high season is summertime. So for an example, this 1-bedroom unit, it usually rents about $2,500 a month. But in June, I can get $3,000. And in July, I can get $4,000. And so that's why it's really important to list on websites like Airbnb as well as Furnish Finder, and to know that you need to be kind of tweaking your pricing based on that demand. So what helps you do that? Well, the pricing software does. So currently pricing software is still really looking at that short-term rental industry. So they are looking at it by the nightly rate, but it adds it all up and it gets a monthly total. So you just want to be in there checking it every once in a while, but it is so worth it to get those great months where your income is almost doubled. So the second software that I love is an auto messaging software. There are a few companies that do this. I specifically use Hospitable. It's got its quirks, but it saves me so much time in auto messaging. Let me break it down to you a little bit. So when a guest sends a message, if it's on Airbnb, you have to respond within an hour. So what we do is we've kind of preemptively figured out what are the common questions people are going to ask, and we've pre-programmed the answers in there. We also have about 5 messages, depending on the property, that go out at a timed, like a specific time. So here are those messages. I do a confirmation message, and that one is going to just give them some of the basics to how to get to the house. Then 2 days before they show up, we give them an email that has a house manual link in it. So you can put like a Google Docs link that shows them everything about the house and some restaurant recommendations, things to do. Again, we're trying to cut down on the communication. So if you give them all the resources, they're really self-sufficient. Then we do a during their stay message that's usually a day after they check in, and it talks about where the trash is and how that all works. That's also a really important component. If you've been in the short-term rental industry, you know that trash is the worst part. Medium-term rental, they get to know the house, they're living there, so they're handling the trash. It's so much easier. Then we do a checkout message the day before checkout, just so they know when to get out, what to do to help our cleaners. And then lastly, to leave a review. Reviews are super important for the SEO, so you show up higher in the search. Okay, a lot of this really is specific to Airbnb, Vrbo, if you're using those sites for marketing. If you're doing something like Furnish Finder, people might be saying, well, how are my guests getting these messages? This is the beauty of it. If you're using a website like Hospitable, I imagine the others are very similar, you can actually create a reservation, put in your guest's email, and then they get these emails at the same time that somebody would on Airbnb. So it's all automated and you don't have to do anything about it. So I love that. The last thing is that if you're doing longer stays and it's off of an Airbnb sort of platform, you need to do a lease. Leases are super important. Now, if we're doing 30 days or more, these are tenants that have rights, so you have to protect yourself. Please, please do a lease. So the site that I love to use for this is Avail. Avail does tenant screening, which is super great. They have leases in there that you can just say what state you're in, and then it just lets you add in all the blanks. You just fill in the blanks super easily. And then you can do electronic signatures right there. So you can send it to your guests and you could do it yourself. And then they also collect automatic payments. So easy, so great. So you're getting your deposit automatically. We usually collect the deposit immediately on signing. And then I usually tell tenants, hey, we'll take the rent just a couple days before move-in. So it's usually about 3 days before move-in. So if they're a traveling nurse and, they have deposits all over the country, it's just hard for them to have enough money. So we're trying to make it a little bit easier for them. So again, Avail, I love that you can charge the tenant to do tenant screening. And if you're using primarily traveling nurses, know that they're highly background checked for their job already, so they're probably pretty good. Sometimes people are fine just getting a proof of employment from them, and then they don't do any background screening. So there is a little more steps than a short-term rental where they just book online and they show up, but it's not that hard and it's getting more and more automated. So it is possible. So if you liked this video, please go check out our other 2 videos. We have one on medium-term rentals 101. We also have one on identifying a market. And if you just want a deep dive, buy our book, 30-Day Stay, The Investor's Guide to Mastering the Medium-Term Rental. It's got all kinds of goodies on how to furnish your rental, how to present it super professionally, and just get the most for your money. So I am super excited for you guys. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Leave some comments below. I will check all of them and we can have a discussion about medium-term rentals. I'm Zeona McIntyre. See you later.